Hey folks, it's Jared Manninen from the website TahoeTrailGuide.com. Today I want to talk to you about something that repeatedly comes up each cross-country ski season, whether it's people asking me in a lesson or online, or something that I witnessed personally or experienced personally. Because this thing is something that we all do when we're diagonal striding, and that's slapping our skis as we're bringing in the trailing leg to become the new glide ski. There's this tendency of slapping with each stride that we take, and for me, it drives me up the wall. I'm trying to be out in nature, trying to listen to birds and see wildlife and just hear the sounds of the wind blowing through the trees, that sort of thing. And then when I got that slap sound of that trailing ski always hitting the ground, it drives me up the wall. I will say that this is not the greatest offense that you could ever commit while cross-country skiing. The reason I say this is because when you're slapping the skis, that trailing leg, as it's coming in to be the new glide ski, that slapping noise means you're driving your ski forward, you're driving your knee forward, and you're landing your ski flat, which I've mentioned it before, but a flat ski is a fast ski. We want to be gliding on a flat ski. So those are good things, and that slapping noise that you're hearing is indicative of that driving and landing of a flat ski. The problem is that you're landing at a couple of inches too short. I'm going to be honest and admit that I don't have like a surefire bulletproof drill that you can do that's going to decrease that slapping sound or correct it permanently. It's an ongoing issue, and in diagonal striding and classic cross-country skiing, nothing operates in a vacuum. So that is indicative of, again, landing your ski, the trailing leg, soon to be the new gliding leg. You're landing it too soon, which means you have to extend that leg just a little bit further. And I don't mean straighten your leg out. I'm just saying, as you're pushing off from the one ski, you have to do a bit more of a bound, for lack of a better term. So when you're pushing off from one ski, there's that deliberate drop in your weight to flatten the ski, compressing the ski so that the grip zone meets the snow, so that you have a point in which you can push off. Once you drop your weight, push off, and then drive your knee forward, that pushing off is going to involve a slight vertical rise. I'm not asking you to hop up and down like a bunny or simulate like you're on a pogo stick. I'm just saying that when you push off from one ski to another, naturally, we're always fighting gravity, right? We're always trying to correct gravity's pull on us. So we should be coming up just slightly so that when we swing that trailing leg through to become the new glide ski, once we push off, transfer our weight to that glide ski, we have to create space so that glide ski has a place to arrive. I want you to think about walking and running, even though diagonal striding and classic technique is not exactly like either, but it is not unlike it either. We're making space for that trailing leg that we pushed off from in order to take our next step, right? When we're running, we're kind of bounding again. There's that slight rise. So again, we're making space for that trailing leg to come through and land in front. If we're gonna walk and land our feet, if these are our feet walking, if we land our feet short, we're gonna constantly be stutter stepping or falling forward, right? The same thing is with the ski, except we benefit from the glide properties of the ski, so it doesn't quite feel like we're stutter stepping, but that's in essence what we're doing by landing our ski too soon. We want to land just in front, so we can either look at our toes and see, am I landing that gliding ski just in front of my push-off foot, or I actually recommend more looking at the ski tips. so that you're not looking straight down at your feet, for example. This way, at least your peripherals are seeing a little bit further down the track, so you can look at the front of your ski. When you're bringing that ski into glide, after you've pushed off, transferred your body weight to that gliding ski, it should land a few inches in front. It's not a huge, like, leaps and bounds like Superman over tall buildings and that sort of thing. It's just a couple of inches, and sometimes these subtle changes, these subtle shifts in movement are the most challenging to accomplish because they're so subtle. When we're talking about these minor changes of like 3 to 5 inches, it's really challenging to do that consistently and then to continue to do it, because this is such a rhythmic motion and your feet are never really that static. But again, if we're talking about walking, running, pushing off with our ski, our feet are technically, just for a fraction of a second, static on the ground. They're not sliding back and forth. So you can use where you land that glide ski in relation to where you push off, either walking, running, or diagonal striding. You can use that foot that's right there pushing off as a measuring device to see if you are in fact landing your ski forward, that glide ski forward of the push-off ski, or your feet again. I don't want you to be looking down at your feet the whole time, but for training purposes and correctional purposes, that might be something you want to incorporate, because it can be beneficial just for the short term to see, is that glide foot really swinging beyond or landing beyond the push-off foot? And there's no specific distance we're looking for. It's just needs to be landing either right in line or just in front of that foot. I prefer just in front of that foot, because as soon as we start to only go to meet the next foot, we have that tendency where we might start meeting a little bit behind where that foot is. Again, I don't have any surefire methods of instantly correcting this issue. To me, it seems more systemic. There's a piece of that diagonal striding puzzle that's missing from your technique. When I notice that I do it the most often, it's usually because I'm fatigued. I start to get lackadaisical in my technique, a little bit lazy. Maybe I'm going up a long hill and I'm just not really, burst, recover. I'm not really being as dynamic of a skier as I could be. So then that's when I start to, oh yeah, I gotta wake up. We gotta do this right. I can't stand listening to that sound. Let's make the corrections. And usually that involves being very deliberate about compressing the ski, pushing off, and going to the next one. And it's like I have to wake myself up in order to do that. If that's not the case with you, and that's just part of your normal diagonal stride technique, then it's, in my opinion, still going to be corrected by be very deliberate about compressing the ski and pushing off to the next ski and just livening up your body so that you can get those extra few inches of swing through with the trailing leg to be gliding. So if you're an instructor, long-time skier, or you just have a brilliant idea about it and you want to share, please post it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it if you have some sort of a bulletproof method for correcting this quickly. Otherwise, just know that this is the issue. You're landing the ski too soon. Make the change to land it a little bit further. And I like to put the power in your hands to make those corrections, because I'm just here on YouTube. You may see me one day on the trails, but chances are this one video or the few videos that I have are all that we have together. So I'm not going to be there to be able to pound it in your ears, do this or do that. This is something that you need to be figuring out on your own. I appreciate everyone asking me this question, because again, it's one of those things that just kind of grates on me, because it's so annoying and antithesis to being out in nature. So making those corrections, and to be honest, when I start noticing myself doing it, when I'm getting lazy, I start looking around like, oh boy, I'm that guy making all that noise coming down the trail. So I do my best to alleviate that, and we always want to ski our best anyway. It's the most efficient and the most enjoyable time for us. So Anyway, those are my thoughts on it. Sorry for no real demonstrations of any sort. You know what that sound is every time that ski lands. I don't need to recreate that. Just know that trailing leg swinging through has to get beyond that push off ski. We got to make that happen. The last bit that I would like to kind of briefly touch on is that people have asked me, well, do you do anything different with your feet to make them not slap? It's like, no, I don't really think that hard about what my trailing leg is doing. I'm just, driving my knee through and making sure that when I push off, it's a dynamic push off with that slight vertical rise, that, opening of the hips, driving the knee forward, and landing that ski just a little bit in front of the other ski. That's all I'm focused on. I'm not thinking about what angle of my foot is on. It should come relatively natural. Anyway, enough of that. I'm gonna just say my goodbyes here. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out TahoeTrailGuide.com. And then if you have a compelling urge to contribute to the health and longevity of Tahoe Trail Guide and this YouTube channel, I have a Patreon as well as a PayPal option for contributing, either each month or a one-time payment. For all of my Patreon subscribers who do contribute on a monthly basis, I'm very grateful. Thank you for that. It helps me do what I do and produce these fun videos for you guys. So thank you so much. We'll see you next time.